Today's video is, I don't know, like a bit of a sentimental one. I'm selling this bike. The person that's buying it is incredibly versed in motorsports. They race cars and bikes. Purchaser is going to be here in 33 minutes. Before the new owner gets here, I wanted to go on a ride, but the love bugs here are terrible because we're in Florida. If you guys don't know what love bugs are, we have seasons where it's just these like little black bugs that are everywhere. And you go, if you ride, they cover everything. For those of you that don't know, this is our 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide that we built out for Harley-Davidson's official YouTuber biker Buildoff. This was season 1, and it was the Blockhead team versus Ocoee Originals. We met in the middle in true biker Buildoff fashion. In the middle for us was Austin. Got this bike all together, did everything we did to it, and rode it to Austin and back. It was literally a turn and burn. It was an incredible experience, especially being there at the dealership for that like finale. Incredible being able to meet so many of you guys, seeing how much enthusiasm and support there was for something like this. And when Ocoee and I met, we were like, hey, we should talk shit and drum up drama, get people to watch, because we all know you love drama. It's no secret. It wins in titles, it wins in thumbnails, but we wanted a way to like obviously not be all dramatic or whatever and keep it motorcycle related. So Biker Buildoff was that kind of idea. And so I took that to Harley-Davidson, pitched it between myself and Ocoee. That was the start. And then Ocoee ended up going against Thrash and Supply, and then Thrash and Supply. I think we're kind of waiting to see who they choose next. What's to come of it, not really sure. I'm gonna be hanging out with Harley Corporate, what I'm at, here pretty soon, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about it and see, you know, what's next for it. Is it thrashing? Are they gonna carry the torch? Are they gonna pass it off? Kind of see where it goes from there. The whole biker Buildoff kind of idea back in the day through Discovery Channel was awesome. Like Ocoee said, we weren't doing it to the level of, you know, those guys, because they were building frame up bikes. For us, it was like working off of this modern platform and assembling. We weren't like doing anything to the frame or anything like that. Like, you know, we are with this one. Tear it down to frame, hardtail it, Springer front end. This is actually our giveaway bike for season 12. If you guys are interested in signing up for that, head over to blockheadgiveaways.com or patreon.com/blockheadmoto. And whenever we're done with that, we'll give it away to one of y'all. We obviously chose to go the performance bagger route. Ocoee also chose to go the performance bagger route. Now with me knowing that he previously worked with Nick Trask, whenever he was coming up, I knew he was gonna do a turbo. Because of that, we wanted to do a supercharger. So we put a Procharger supercharger on it, which is absolutely awesome. Like, this freaking thing screams. We got it tuned up and all that stuff at Rhino Motorsports. We finished with 205 horsepower, 194 foot-pounds of torque. Now, this bike is an absolute monster. It rides amazing because it's got premium suspension, Ohlins on the front, Ohlins reservoirs on the rear. The bike just rides incredible, but that 205 horsepower and 194 foot-pounds of torque is just too much for me. I'll probably get called a pussy or a bitch, whatever. Honestly, a Milwaukee 8 stage 2 on a soft tail, throwing a cam in it is probably like my sweet spot. It's what I like. It's what Alan likes.
Yeah, stage 2 is a great performer in an M8 because you got enough power to just jam through traffic. You're not worried about it pulling or lagging on you, but this thing's another level. I mean, it is a blast to ride, but I think it would get mentally taxing from the standpoint of, I gotta make sure I don't kill myself.
It's a lot of bike, and it can get away from you very, very fast.
Yeah, because ride modes don't matter anymore.
Yeah, ride modes don't matter. It still has ride modes, but yeah, I mean, you're on throttle and you're cooking. It's a challenge to keep the front wheel down, right? If you're in a normal seating position, or if you know, lean over the tank and you've got weight on the bars, it's a challenge to keep the rear wheel from breaking free and just doing a rolling burnout.
Even with my 300 plus pounds on it, I mean, I've lost some since I've ridden it, but it did both. It would lift in second gear, no problem.
Yeah.
Didn't find out if it could lift in any other gears because I really don't like popping a wheelie on a bagger. It will break the back tire without thinking twice.
Like I said, I might get called a pussy, I might get called a bitch, but I'm just being real. Everybody that you talk to that has done forced induction all kind of says the same thing. Like, it's a lot and it's fun to have, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm riding the Dynamore. Honestly. So this bike has been setting. It has been fun to like tune it up and get it, you know, dialed in through Rhino Motorsports. You know, big shout out to Dakota You know, obviously this bike was the first of many. It was the first bike to actually have a Procharger on it for the new 24 style Gen 2 Milwaukee 8s. And we came up with a whole system to be able to attach this and custom bracketry and all that stuff. Paired it with our pipe, so it's got a Blockhead exhaust on it. And then we launched carbon fiber. So we came out with our own carbon fiber for this. The fairing's all carbon fiber. The fender, carbon dash.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the first one with carbon on the new model.
Yeah, we were the first to do a Procharger on the new models. We were the first company out with carbon fiber for the Gen 2.
You were pretty high up on that list of 135s too.
First to do the new Kraus calipers.
Titaniums? Those weren't even out yet.
The bars?
Yeah, you got those pre-release.
Kraus was a huge supporter in this build, and we, you know, obviously can't thank Satya and the team enough. We had so many people that were interested in helping us because of our past working with them, but then also like what it meant. You know, Harley-Davidson obviously stepped up huge, organizing the whole thing. For Crucy and I, Saddlemen stepped up, and they were, no pun intended with the step up. They did, you know, this custom seat for us, which we've worked with Saddlemen for a long time. And just always quality seats, and like the stitching on this thing, you know, a lot of people don't see that, right? The little yellow stitching to kind of match the Marlboro livery theme. It was my first time powder coating, so, you know, first powder coat stuff here. Came out really well. I actually heard a ton of feedback from you guys regarding that, saying like, yo, I started powder coating, or I tried powder coating because of that video that you did, which was awesome. We did a whole video going over everything on this bike from front to back, in terms of performance, parts. Total retail cost for the bike would be like $100,000+. After we did this build, we immediately pivoted and we built Delphine. We went from super high-end, dripping in carbon fiber, forced induction, stage 4 crate engine, premium suspension, premium brakes, all those details covered, to doing something more vintage style, vintage flavor, what we called a retro mod, vintage flavor, modern performance.
Yeah, because you see a lot with the old Camaros and Corvettes and stuff. They call them resto mods. So they'll make the body perfect, keep a lot of the original styling, and drop them on modern driveline. We had the modern driveline already, but we wanted vintage flavor.
I feel like I would like to do more of that, but with that performance in mind. We can totally do supercharged, turbocharged, all that stuff. We're also going to be potentially messing around with some turbo stuff, but I'm not giving you guys any details on that. That is way down the pipeline, and yeah, we're gonna address a potential problem in the industry.
Our list of dreams and ideas are very long at this point, so yeah. Turbo's down it a little ways.
Yeah, turbo's down it a little ways. However, selling this bike helps us to expedite those goals, right? To expedite those dreams, because getting towards those, it does take investment, it does take capital, it takes time, right?
Red Bull.
Lots of Red Bull. Red Bull's expensive. I was growing into the bike, but even with growing into the bike, even having ridden tons of motorcycles, lots of very, very fast motorcycles, I just really felt like there was no way that I'd ever be able to fully utilize the power of this motorcycle. The person that's buying it is incredibly versed in motorsports. They race cars and bikes. So I'm very, very curious to see how the journey of this bike basically evolves. I would definitely like to be updated on how it's doing, you know, because it's like, this is something that's very personal to us, and I'm really, really excited. I hope that the buyer is cool with me filming, telling you guys who is buying it, keeping it under wraps for now, just in case they're not. It's going to a good home, and it's going to be used, and it's going to be used like it should. I think there are opportunities for it to be on a track. Hello.
All right, I'm at your gate.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Okie doke.
All right, so the buyer is here. Get this thing pushed out.
do that 8 hours a day.
Love it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Pretty sweet, man. Nice build.
Thanks, man.
How'd it feel, buddy?
Nice. Do that and build a cell, and I'll be good to go then. No, I'm gonna do that and put the wheeling on the master race car.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, yeah. That,
New owner, JC France.
How you doing? Super stoked to have this beautiful machine you built. Love the livery on it. I've always been a fan of the Formula One Ayrton Senna and the Marlboro livery on the stuff while it was still legal. Kind of changed it a little bit to match my current race car, the Wheeling number 31 Cadillac GTP. I'll send you a picture of that as soon as it's done. Hope you like it too.
What's the plans? You gonna race this thing?
No, just riding it on the street, baby. I might take it around the track at Daytona.
Oh, yeah.
Road course for sure. Got to beat these guys. He's on a KTM, so
Oh, nice.
need the horsepower.
Oh, you guys are all racing bikes?
We do track days and stuff together. Race cars. Like to have roll cage around me nowadays.
Yeah, it's a lot
Did some
safer.
motorcycle stuff years ago. This guy's super fast, cross country guy. I did some flat track enduro and motocross when I was younger. Car racing now.
Yeah.
Too old for that shit, man.
I know, man.
60 years old.
Shit, I'm too old for it. Super stoked it's going. See you. Glad it's going to a good home. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
looking forward to
Beautiful
seeing it.
build here.
Thank you. Thank
Stay
you.
in touch.
Great race, man. Damn, it sounds good.
Yes, it does.
That right there is JC France. If the last name sounds familiar, it should. He's part of the France family that founded NASCAR and built Daytona International Speedway. He's an incredibly accomplished racer. JC competes in historic and sports car racing around the world. And as of filming this, he was on an incredible run that included 6 straight victories, a win at Indianapolis and a victory at Le Mans in the inaugural NASCAR Classic. Safe to say, Lucy ended up in the right hands. This bike started as an opportunity to build something completely over the top. We put a ton of time, work, and heart into it, but builds like this are not meant to set still. Knowing Lucy is going to someone who genuinely understands the racing inspiration behind it and is actually going to ride the hell out of her makes it a whole lot easier to watch her go. Selling Lucy helps us clear the slate, create some breathing room, and put resources towards the next big ideas. In fact, shortly after filming this, we got pre-approved on a property with some acreage, so it's official. We are relocating. A huge new chapter for my family, for Blockhead, and for Blockline manufacturing is about to begin, and we're super excited to share that with y'all. This probably isn't the last time you'll see Lucy either. We've got an idea for an upcoming build that I've actually already talked with JC about, and if everything comes together, we might have the opportunity to get the bikes back together for a shoot on Daytona International Speedway. This may be the end of our chapter with Lucy, but it's definitely not the end of her story. As always, thank you all for following along, supporting our vision, believing in what we're building, and making all of this possible. We genuinely could not do it without you. We've got a lot incoming, so make sure you're subscribed, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.